Hey, what's up, boss? Let me unmute you. Oh, actually, you are unmuted. So good.
Hello, my friend.
How are you doing today, Lurkin?
So good. And you, my friend?
Good. What an insane 48 hours. That's for darn sure. What's up, Dravo?
Hi, bud. How are you?
Good, my friend. Apologize for the all over the place with today's AMA. Just have so many different things kind of going on all simultaneously. So, figured I wanted to pop in before basically some of the other chaos of the rest of my day starts with some of the festival stuff. So, and then
Yeah, I know that.
Danny, yeah, and Danny can't make it today because he's kind of handling some family move stuff. So he was going to try to work it around his schedule and said he couldn't. So what we're going to do is I'm basically going to just kind of give an overview. Obviously, this will be recorded, but I have a couple of highlights. So this will be good because we can basically save it as an audio clip, and then we can be able to repost it out for later today. Um, obviously, so I'll just kind of start in, and as we get more people, or if anybody has any kind of questions at any point, raise your hand. Feel free. We will certainly be taking any questions, as it'll only be me today on VC. Other than Drabo, obviously Drabo is uh, quite the ardent moderator in our Telegram chat. So massive shouts out to Dravo. He never gets nearly the credit and probably gets more FUD than the guy will ever need for the rest of his life. But he's constantly not only working the community as far as in Telegram, but he's constantly always, what's up, Sailor? Good to see you, brother. Also always working Discord, and trust me, behind the scenes, he has been our godsend with a couple of our other projects and people that I can't always necessarily have one-on-one conversations with for more than maybe 30 minutes. He's constantly in contact with them. So, but we'll go ahead and get started. My name's EJ, team lead with EverReflect and EverTix. It's been a pretty insane, I mean, really, it's only been about 24 hours, but we'll call it 48. I was in contact with Don Bailey this morning from Blockbuster's token. So everybody saw that huge spike yesterday. They added obviously hundreds of BNB, approximately in the range of $150,000 of purchases for EverReflect. Those tokens go into their contract, and they're going to be distributed. As you can see right now on our holders count, they're all being airdropped currently to all the Blockbusters token buyers and holders. So we're one of 8 tokens and 8 projects that they are sending out and airdropping today in the sum of 41 trillion tokens. The reason I was going back and forth with Don this morning, just so that everybody's aware, we did want to remove fees from that contract so that they could airdrop all of those tokens, which is heavy on the gas. So it's a very ambitious project. Honestly, one of the coolest projects I can say that I've seen or heard of in months, just from the concept of raising that much BNB to following through and purchasing $150,000 of all 8 of those projects. I think SafeMoon, they may have purchased a bit more, and that they're then spending the gas because, as everybody knows, gas adds up. So they're airdropping through that one contract every single one of their holders. That's going on right now. Is kind of actually cool looking at their looking at the contract address. If you go into where those tokens are coming from and where Blockbuster's putting them out, it was a massive amount. I think in the range of over $500,000 in token value that they're basically airdropping to all those people. And we're just fortunate, I can't say that there was anything special that we did to be able to build rapport with that project, other than from day one, we have had a real world utility. That was our plan that we put out with EverTix, and our team has stayed focused. That's really been the bread and butter. It's not all that hard. We've just stayed focused on the goals, and that has earned us a very solid reputation with a number of other projects. I was able to learn about Blockbuster's token at the NFT Expoverse a couple weeks ago out in LA, and it really was kind of amazing to be able to watch that liquidity go up the way it did yesterday. And then it probably gave some people that were obviously holders that maybe hadn't been the most content, they were able to exit. It's giving us the opportunity that we're now seeing thousands of new holders. I was just talking to Danny via chat. He won't be able to join me today, but we were just looking at the holder count for EverReflect, and as of right now, obviously many thousands of our holders are still staked. We're up to 5,600 not new holders, but it's definitely an increase from the 35 to 3,600 that we had just a couple of hours ago. With that being said, the relationship that we have with them at this point is extremely positive. Don had messaged me on Twitter this morning, had obviously asked for us to remove those fees so they could airdrop, but also had reassured that, they're going to keep supporting us, that they are huge fans of EverReflect, huge fans of EverTix, and we're humbled. We're extremely grateful that they selected us out of, as you guys know, because we all probably hold, tens, if not, dozens or 30 or 40 or 50 of some of these projects. There's a lot of different projects that they could have selected, but we were one of the 8. So we're definitely grateful. We're definitely humbled. Massive shout out to Don Bailey and his entire team and what they've done, what they put together. That's, as anybody knows that has been around on a team or a dev for a project, to facilitate what they're doing is not an easy task. So mad props to those guys. Thank you, Don. Hopefully he'll be able to hear this recording as well. We'll definitely continue. I know that there was a lot of people that were mentioning in the Telegram about doing an AMA with him. Obviously, they're quite tied up today. So the feasibility of Don being able to not manage $500,000 in tokens that are going out to all of their holders, that's going on right now. He was going to be a little wrapped up to join us for our AMA today. But rest assured, I'm going to ask. There's no obviously promises yet because we're not guaranteed that that they will host us for an AMA or that we can host them, vice versa. But it's leaning in that direction. So good news from that aspect, that we have a solid relationship, and really hoping that we'll be able to continue to keep forging that. And what's up, BP? Good to see you, my friend. And just see where it goes, because it was definitely an influx of liquidity that, was just a great thing to see, great to look at the chart, and we're just appreciative of it. So with that being said, prior to the last 48 hours of chaos, we're working on a couple of other aspects for EverTix. One that we've been going back actually with one of our community members that he'd reach out to me. We're not going to necessarily announce exactly the details as of yet, but it would be with the Licensing Executive Society. They're in a really cool situation. And this was a convention that I got super excited as I learned more about it. They are already doing ticket sales. However, they are very, very intrigued by showing their executives and all of their professionals the the capabilities and the power of basically NFTs. So the plan is, this is not 100% confirmed, but the strategy behind this, and we're going to look at doing this for a number of conventions, hopefully, is that Danny and I will basically produce 400, 500, 600 NFTs. They will be on site. So if you're familiar with most trade show conventions, they'll usually have booths set up, similar to what you probably saw from the photos that we sent of NFT Expoverse. They're going to actually do tutorials, and I love this project. I mean, I haven't spoken about it in a few months, but going back to like the January, February, March timeframe, one of the aspects that we've always adhered to with EverReflect are new wallets, right? Because the barrier to entry for anybody to be able to get into crypto outside of basically Robinhood, even if you get on Coinbase, can be a little daunting to get into DeFi. Dealing with MetaMask, dealing with Trust Wallet, having to swap over and even learn that there's multiple blockchains. How many times did people probably have to read through instruction manuals to add Binance to their MetaMask when we first all got started in this stuff? So I'm super encouraged by what they want to do with this convention, because they're in essence going to be teaching professionals, especially that baby boomer generation, what it is to get a crypto wallet, whether that's going to be MetaMask or whether that'll be Trust. We'll still go through those processes. Whether it's going to be an ERC 1155 NFT versus an ERC 721, the mass print versus the individual minting. So we're going to go through all those details. But just one of those aspects that I love it, because the education of individuals, outside of, like what I talk about all the time, our BNB bubble, people outside of that, it's a lot of barrier to entry to even get a wallet and understand how to use it or to add Binance to that wallet. So the fact they're going to do tutorials and they're going to show people, they're going to help them sign up, get their own wallets, teach them about seed phrases, teach them about private keys, teach them about adding different blockchains, and then airdrop them one of our NFTs as basically a memento, or as we were talking about, if you have a lanyard with a badge from the convention, you kind of hold those. A lot of people like to, save them as basically a memento of them attending that convention. This is something they can now hold on basically their PC, or they can hold it on their cell phone and their smartphone, and they'll have an NFT memento, kind of like a name badge that they attended the convention. Sorry, I had to take a little drink of Diet Mountain Dew there. So that's really encouraging. We're going to try to do the exact same thing for the Michigan Festivals and Event Association convention that's coming up this November. That will be in Port Huron, Michigan. 500 festival planners and executives. We are already listed on Michigan Fun. Obviously, Michigan Fun is Michigan Festivals and Event Association. So the EverTix brand, the ticketing source, links, contact info, all that good stuff is already there. We're going to make sure that we're going to have basically staff with a booth at the trade show there. Same thing, tutorials, giving people the option to be able to walk through, create admin accounts on EverTix, really understand the concept. One other aspect that we had that was a call earlier this week is with Consumers Energy. So Consumers Energy is the largest energy provider here in the state of Michigan. They do a lot of free tours. So I've been going back and forth with their director of event planning for the entire state of Michigan. They give different tours at, say, power plants, things of that nature. They're usually free tickets. So I've been having a dialogue back and forth, a couple of calls this week. Hopefully we can get them into the fold as they start to do more of these tours. Our website, which is semi-unique actually, and this is something that it's kind of a geeky event planning nerd aspect of why I love EverTix. If you sell free tickets on our website, there's no charge, for one. Secondly, you can actually create multiple free tickets under the same event. I know that doesn't sound like a major thing. However, if you try to do it with, say, Eventbrite or RegFox or Event Hub or some of these other ticketing sites, it's actually a bottleneck where you have to create 15 different events with 15 different URLs. And that's something that EverTix is actually very unique and very fortunate that we're the only ones that actually do that. So definitely impressed by that. Definitely a cool, just another cool relationship that we're going to continue to keep leveraging. One of those other relationships that we're looking to get into the fold with more of his events was Jay Sanborn that I was mentioning, the promoter and event director behind RibFest. This gentleman books a lot of shows around the state of Michigan. He owns a couple of clubs, and then he actually manages all of the spring break events and concerts for Florida. So he travels down there every spring. He was just doing the concerts and the events over at MIS. I think I'd mentioned it on the last AMA. So that is all the NASCAR events that come here to the state of Michigan. One other thing that I'm looking to travel in either September or October out to Kansas City, because we have a connection with WM Vision. They do all of the cameras actually for Fox Weather, and Fox News, Fox Weather, Rupert Murdoch, that whole group. They actually just purchased an NFT company. So we're going to go out there to Kansas City in the next couple months to make sure we have a sit-down conversation with them, see if it's something that maybe NFT ticketing is an aspect of whatever business in that news, television world, we could potentially leverage them and see what connections, what rapport, and what builds can actually come out of that. It's not necessarily a guaranteed idea yet, but it is one of those major players that we want to make sure that we continue to keep building that relationship. So I know I just kind of spouted off a good portion without even taking a breath there, but I wanted to make sure that anybody that was in here, if anybody had any questions, or if you wanted to just raise your hand at any point, feel free. Or if you're already unmuted, you can certainly unmute yourself and pop in and ask a question. One other question that has come up a couple of times since our last AMA, and it's still in the process of being tested, is the seated events. So I know that a lot of people are wondering like when that'll end up dropping and exactly when we'll be able to start taking seated events for seated venues. We're still going to project it that it's going to be somewhere in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Hopefully we'll deliver it before that, but just to set expectations, we don't want to make it, we don't want to basically overpromise and then get a venue that wants to sell tickets and have NFTs for their seated performing arts center or their seated venue and it not be fully vetted, not fully tested. Very similar with the morphing of the NFTs and everything that we're doing. The current convention that is on sale with Tango Crypto, we're also going to be working a little bit more hand in hand with those guys. They have a good number of, I know that they've already confirmed Kyle from Nobility as one of their keynotes, but they're looking at a couple of other people. Obviously, if you're in the Tango Crypto Discord and you listen to Dave, he may have mentioned some of those. I'm not going to drop any names, but there's some pretty big hitters as far as other token projects. So definitely excited to see what those guys are going to be able to do, looking to increase the ticket sales for their convention as well. So those are the main updates. Did anybody else, I guess one other piece of information that I know Dravo's been having to facilitate most of the conversations is with Brew Labs. The Brew Labs farming has been, we will put it this way, that we definitely appreciate Brew Labs. We definitely respect Mav. He's become a great friend and a great ally. But as things happen with BSE, sometimes contracts have issues. So currently, if you have farmed, we're asking you to emergency withdraw, take out your LP tokens, and then those LP tokens you can then sell back on PancakeSwap. I am documenting everybody that's doing the emergency withdrawal, because if you do the emergency withdrawal and then you sell back on Pancake, you will be taxed. There's no real good way of us avoiding that, because the transaction is no longer taking place through the Brew Labs contract. It is now taking place on Pancake. But rest assured, I'm documenting it. Going back to how many times we've airdropped to the community. If that's the case and we end up having to airdrop to make up for those tax tokens, rest assured the entire team is aware of it, that we're documenting it. We'll make sure that everybody is basically made whole. We're also in conversations with MAV about the additional tokens that were for interest. There were some issues with the APY being calculated, and we'll just leave it at that. I'm not a big fan of getting into the pointing fingers, but we are a big fan of, all right, we're going to address the problem. We're going to make sure we do our best to be able to make up for it. Maverick has confirmed with me that his team is willing to also contribute to make sure that the tokens, that if need be, that they can purchase those and make everybody whole again. It's not going to be overnight, so I do apologize. I know that the farm situation has been going on for a number of weeks, hence why appreciate Dravo so much managing that conversation with Brew Labs as much as he has. He's probably written a 5,000-word novel just in communication with those guys over there. So it's just one of those things that happens with BSC. We'll make people make sure that we're documenting it. We'll make sure that, at the end of the day, that everybody's rest assured that we'll do the right thing and that we'll make sure everybody's taken care of. So with that being said, those are pretty much the announcements I had for today. Obviously, with the highlight being Blockbusters token. Want to once again just say a number of grateful things to Don Bailey and his team. Pretty amazing what we saw happen 24 hours ago. And those tokens are all being airdropped. So if you just joined in, I would recommend everybody take a look at our holders count and the hundreds and thousands of holders that it's increasing by literally by the minute, because they're airdropping those 8 tokens to every one of their holders. Hey, Rusty, I saw you raise your hand. How you doing today, brother?
Oh, I'm very good. Yeah, I was shocked. Not shocked. I knew it was going to come one day, but when I looked to see the reflections from the Blockbuster trade,
yeah,
very nice. And I know this will be way more in the future once the ticketing rolls out 100%. But
yeah.
How are you, by the way?
Oh, I'm good, man. Good to chat with you, voice to voice, as opposed to via text message all the time.
Sure. I did have a quick question though. And I asked Dravo, and he's been very helpful. But I couldn't find it. And this is pertaining to, especially after Voyager and all the others, what happened with them, because that was my main source of on-ramping onto my wallet to buy stuff, and now I'm very leery about using an exchange to on-ramp. Is there any way to buy EverReflect off the website via fiat, or are there any plans?
Well, Flu's Trade, if you were to go through Flu's Trade, there is the ability to purchase with Apple Pay, and then I think a debit and credit card. Okay. The main issue that, obviously you have with that is that you get hit with a bunch of fees for them converting the fiat into BNB and then purchasing it. Yes and no. And I know Ember also, I haven't checked with those guys in a number of weeks, but they had a a conversation that they were going to be able to facilitate more fiat on ramping for lower fees. We don't personally. We will never get into that game, to be honest, with us being based in the United States. There's just going to be more I guess there's more room for us to have issues if we're starting to take in fiat for the actual purchase of the token. It's a little different when we end up taking in fiat and people are buying an NFT ticket, and then we can convert that fiat that we already have into some BNB and we can buy back. But that for us, I would say if you're looking and you have to buy it, I wasn't familiar with the Voyager thing. What ended up happening with them?
They lent money to that Three Arrows, and they defaulted on the payback, and now they can't pay their customers what they owe, and they're in bankruptcy.
Oh, geez, okay.
Yeah, and now all my stuff is frozen on my account, so I can't. And I probably won't see but a fraction of it, more than likely.
Yeah.
But I was using it. I was transferring. It was real easy with them to go through your bank and deposit money into them and then send it to somebody else and then convert it to BSC and then send it to my BSC wallet. I'm just curious, though, now that you mention it, I mean, I know it's possible, and I know you said you didn't really want to get into it, but couldn't you technically buy through your fiat company on the ticket platform and, like buy a block of EverReflect or something like that as a... And I'm not pressuring you.
I'll take a note about it, because potentially, I mean, that's going to be a question for our, the guys that we reference for general counsel, and then it's going to be a reference for our CPA, really, because this is going to be obviously a high generated year for taxing for EverReflect Marketing LLC. I'll find out though.
Yeah, I mean,
because I don't know completely.
If you could buy like a block of EverReflect off of the ticketing platform, just through your, through the guys you have for the fiat.
Right. Through WooCommerce, which is basically our payment portal. And then we also have Stripe that's actually connected with the WooCommerce. But let me do some research on that, because that's a very good question. Because to be honest, if I ever I'm one of those guys that goes through a more strenuous process that I'll deposit fiat into Coinbase Pro so I don't hit any fees. Usually we'll buy Litecoin because it's the easiest to transfer over to, say, Bitmart or crypto.com, convert the Litecoin into, a stable coin, from the stable coin buy BNB, and then BNB I'll transfer into, say, Trust or Meta. And
everybody's got their little process of
yeah, it's definitely one of the best places I've actually found to purchase BNB, though, is on crypto.com.
Okay.
That they actually have a fairly decent rate for purchasing BNB, but I hate paying fees, so that's why I always go through the Coinbase Pro, because they were actually charging $0 for any deposit. So your $100 was exactly $100, or $1,000 was exactly $1,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, not everybody's going to want to go through that.
Sure.
Long drawn out process.
Sure. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, because I'm like, I want more, but I'm kind of locked with what I have, and I have no way to on-ramp fiat right now, and I'm like trying to figure out, I want more EverReflect because I only have, 350 billion. I need more.
Yeah. Well, hey, I can good. I like that. I like that you have a hankering for some more EVRF.
Oh, I see. Like I've always said, and I tell, whenever I get to tell the story, when I heard you speak that first time, because I always thought, oh, it's just, I heard you speak the very first time, and you were great handling the situation that happened in the very beginning. But the next time I heard you speak, the next time I heard you speak, and I was like, oh yeah, it's just concert tickets, okay. Oh no, it's not just concert tickets.
Yeah. And trust me, the team that we have behind us, whether it's the board or whether it's the moderators or whether it's any of the devs, these guys are genius. Like some of the ideas, I was talking to Dad on the phone earlier today. It's like I was like, Dad, there's so much good information coming in. Sometimes it's hard to even keep up. Like my list of notes, that I have still from NFT Expoverse, that I'm still trying to go through that list. And the beautiful part of our team, and I will say this, is that I just think everybody has adhered to the idea that like this is our goal, and we're going to continue to keep coming up with different ideas, whether it's with the concert venues, whether it's with the conventions, whether it's just doing some of the NFTs that people need with the marketplace that we have. Like we just have some brilliant people, and I'm excited because if you've listened to me for a while, it's probably a pain in the ass for a lot of people that I don't operate. I work really fast, but I don't operate in a manner where I like to go out and just like throw out stuff that we can't fulfill or stuff that hasn't been tested. And that is a big aspect of where I think why we're successful as a token and why we're successful with the utilities that we have is that we try to test it all so much, probably more than need be, but it alleviates those issues as much as possible, because we always know that there's still going to be issues and things are still going to break and things are still going to end up things will still get messed up. Like it's just a matter of, that's the blockchain in some ways. But, we really try to make sure we go through the due diligence of building things in a solid manner that are tested with all of the injection of ideas that everybody's throwing at us, because we want to do it all. We really do.
Oh, and sure. For sure. Yeah. And it takes time. This is not a flash in the pan. This is, this is a snowball that's going to roll down a hill, and
right.
and one day it's just going to be amazing.
Yeah. And that's the cool part about the people that we've aligned ourselves with and the people that are a part of our team. Like I will say this about everybody that's working with our team, that has worked with our team. We're kind of a different breed in the sense of like, we don't kind of give up. And I've talked to Matt from Diamond Wall about this a number of times of being in event planning, or if you're a musician, like if you're still doing it after a decade, or in my case, after 2 decades, you one, either have something wrong with your brain, or two, you just don't stop. Like that's the aspect of, success is just like, okay, keep going to work, keep getting up every day, making sure you're filling your head with knowledge, making sure that you're actually staying focused and that you're trying to keep a positive mindset. And you just keep doing it over and over and over. And then sooner or later, everybody else, I mean, especially through this down market, not to like, say that the down market was easy for anybody, but look at how many other projects just had to fall off off PooCoin and off the chart altogether because they couldn't weather the storm. And that's something that we've done. And now that BNB is coming back and we're seeing this injection with Blockbusters, and we're seeing, the over 70K of ticket sales for RibFest and some of these other projects that we're looking to line up to get on sale. It's like, we're just going to keep working and we're going to outlast everybody. That's really the game plan. There's no rocket science. It's just that simple. We're going to just keep working and we're going to outlast everybody else.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was that RibFest sale showing that, look, here's an event. I think it generated 3,000, and this is a small event, 3,000, a little over.
Yep.
And people got back. I got like $5, I think, from that or something like that. Sure. It was nice, and that's one event. It's one small event. Now, if it's gonna take time, that's the problem. Is everybody wants overnight and they want to all sell. I mean,
and I get it.
Yeah.
We've created the monster because everybody loves to like the story of the guy that bought Dogecoin and ended up becoming an overnight
Mm,
millionaire. You
uh-huh.
know, like it's part of our culture. It's a part of our history. Um,
That was like a
you
lotto
can't,
ticket. I mean, he bought like a
right,
lotto ticket. Yeah.
right.
This is not a lotto ticket. This is
No, no,
this is
no.
repeatable every year, expandable, unlimited,
Long term.
long term.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's the truth,
I
man.
I appreciate you taking my question. It's always great to talk to you. I know you're a very busy man trying to
No,
get this thing.
dude, I appreciate your friendship. A lot of people that are probably in the chat don't realize that, like Rusty and I, whether it's every week, even text message or message back and forth, and it's cool to see relationships and like true friendships that are built. You know, Rusty is basically as big of a supporter as anybody I've ever reflect, and he's not on the core team, but he really is. Like that's kind of the family we've tried to build. That everybody's kind of an extension of the core team because we need everybody, and everybody has to support each other, and we're all trying to do what we can in this space because uh, crypto's tough. Like it's not as easy as just going out and working a 9 to 5 job and that you're going to get a $200 paycheck at the end of the day. Like we don't know sometimes what the heck's going to happen from day to day. And yesterday was a perfect example of that. $150,000 of buys. We knew stuff was coming, but we didn't know the exact way it was going to all go down. And like I said, just grateful that we even had the opportunity to be one of those 8 tokens that are listed.
It's the potential, though. It's your project's potential. I mean,
Yeah.
I see, and you're the way you talk about it, you're a great motivator,
Oh, thank you.
and no, yeah, sure, and that's why I do the stickers, and I'll be back to doing more stickers soon,
Yeah.
for the Telegram, and no, you gotta help the crypto that you hold in any way that you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and you just kind of hit the nail on the head where how you were saying, like, everybody has life. Everybody has, experiences and time commitments and, change of relationships or living
mhm.
situations or getting a new dog or whatever it might be. Like the cool part I love about the EverReflect and why I call it a family is that, it doesn't matter if you were here in November or in January and then you had to take a couple of months off because life is life. And then you can come back. Like the number of times that I've popped into the chat and I've seen somebody be like, oh man, I haven't been around for a couple of months. What's been going on? Oh, you guys are still around. That's pretty cool. You guys outlasted the Game of Thrones winter. And the number of people that have messaged me that they're like, I sold, but I saw what you guys did with Ribfest, so I bought back in. And it's like, cool,
Mhm.
perfect. You prodigal son type stuff. Like, hey, you're always welcome to come back. Everybody is always welcome here, and we always want to make it as, I guess, as welcoming of a community as we possibly can. Because when everything's said and done, and at the end of the day, yeah, we're here because we want to help make some money and help produce for our lives or our families' lives, but we're all people. And that is the most important aspect of all this stuff: treating people with respect, making sure that you're building friendships, treating people with the way that you truly want to be treated. And it's not bullshit when I say that, because I will go back to just our team. Like the people and the men and the women that are on our team are the most valuable assets. It's never going to be the token. It'll never be Evertix. It'll never be the utilities. Those are all an extension of our greatest asset, which are those people. And it'll always be that way because that's the way I've been for the first 40 years of my life, and I plan on being that way for the next 40. So
There you go. Yeah. Oh no, you're 100% right, because you could have a scumbag developer and he writes a back door and all your money's gone. So it's,
right. Yeah.
which I've seen,
And
which I've seen. Oh man, I'm more fingers than I got on my hands. I've seen that.
right. Yeah. And trust me, we've had our fair share of, like, individuals that maybe didn't behave in the most professional manner. And, we had to take some licks, and maybe we lost some B&B or some EverReflect due to it. But the thing is, we try to still leave that situation in a manner of like, okay, we're not going to go out and like broadcast like, oh, this person, wronged us. No, move on. Hey, it's in the past. We got the moment. And then in this moment, what can we focus on in the future? Sure, you learn from the past, but at the same point, we're not going to live in the past. We're not going to dwell there because, I know it's cheesy. And especially when I get the next office set up, that I have that poster that says, like, you can't win today's ball games with yesterday's home runs. And it's so true. Like, you really can't live on the success of yesterday. Like, we have the moment, and we're going to continue to keep focusing on the successes that we're going to have in the future, because we're going to have a lot.
Yes.
We're going to have a lot.
Yes. Thank you so much for taking my question. I'm going to let you get back to your AMA, and I'm just going to keep listening.
Thanks, brother. Hey, Dravo.
We've got a community question, which I don't know if we know the answer to this one, regarding BBTF. Golden Carrots is asking, do we know whether they're going to do this as a weekly exercise or monthly, or when they've reached a certain trigger point? Have they disclosed any of that to us?
Nope. So as far as the internal, I guess you could call it, metrics of how they're operating their project, we do not. My conversation with Don this morning, though, he did rest assured there's more coming. So that's, in some ways, I'm as familiar as you guys are with where they're going to go and what their vision is and what they're trying to do. So we'll take that as we're grateful for what they've already done. If more comes, amazing. If more doesn't come, we're still going to continue to keep building that relationship with those guys and forging relationships with like I've said from day one, with projects that have good people, that have integrity, that have foundations, that have, in my opinion, I love real world utility, but also solid utility that's within the Binance space. Things that can even be cross-chain, like, with Everrise. So we're going to continue to keep forging those relationships. We're going to build the strongest bonds. We're going to do our best to hopefully, be a good friend and a good ally to them too, because they definitely gave us, an early Christmas present. There's no question about that. But if I do, and back to that question, actually, when I do find out information, or if I get any updates that can kind of be disclosed, like our team knows that I'm not a big one on the non-disclosure agreements. However, I do respect conversations from other devs and other project leads. So if they tell me something in confidence, I will confirm with them what can I disclose or what can I share to our community, and I'll make sure that I end up spreading that information. And everybody that's kind of in our team group chats, they usually see when I try to throw out basically tidbits of information of like, hey, this is on the forefront, this is coming. Yesterday, honestly, I did not know that they were going to be purchasing. There's been talks that they were going to purchase, but I didn't know the time, the place, the day, the who, what, when, where, why. So it was just as much of a surprise to me. So did we have any other questions? Dravo, I don't know if you saw anything else in that group.
Well,
As
there's a question that A1 and or Alan has asked, but I think you've actually covered it, to be fair. It was just asking if BBTF had got reflections in EVRF as part of their ongoing ecosystem. But I think you've more or less covered that with the assurances you've already mentioned that you've had this morning.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that, because I don't know exactly how all their tokenomics are going to set up, whether it's going to be a reflection based on buys of their specific token, or if they're going to continue to keep doing what they're currently doing, purchasing large amounts of the token and then airdropping. I mean, coming from a side of managing contracts, and I've said this before, like I'm not a code writer, I'm just basically a driver. And so I try to learn a contract inside and out, all the aspects of whether it's deploying it to Remix or being able to read and write basically on BSE scan. What they pulled off with raising that much capital, purchasing that many tokens, and then now going through this process of individually airdropping 6,500 holders, 8 different tokens. It's pretty incredible, because I can't even imagine the gas fees that are going into that to just be able to make that happen, because that's a big budget just to be able to push out that many tokens anyway. So I'm impressed. I'm going to definitely be looking into how they operated and were able to facilitate this a heck of a lot more now that it's all taking place and actually happening, literally right now, before our eyes. So. Were there any other questions, comments?
No, nothing.
Concerns?
Nothing in the chat.
Anybody else in the chat that's listening? As always, want to just say a massive thank you to everybody on the team. Dravo, Danny, Manuel, Feisty, Jeremy, VP, who is a stellar press release writer. If anybody wants to know who helps facilitate those for us, and then just there's so many people that are even in the chat. Whether it be Alan, whether it be Ken, whether it be Maddie, Craig, Rusty, Justin, Diego. I mean, there's so many names. Golden Crypto, like it's just encouraging to be able to see those names and know that people are still sticking around. They're still supporting us, and it's not just me. Like I do want to emphasize that so much. I'm very blessed to be in a situation where I get to be kind of the face and the voice of this project, and I am far, far from the only face and the only voice of this project. The amount of work that Danny puts in on a daily basis blows my mind still. He's just one of the hardest workers. Same thing with Manuel with our servers. Same thing with Feisty with doing the contracts, and with so many of the other guys that are just moderators, admins, driving, whether it's Twitter, Discord, Telegram, pushing out things via email or any of the other socials, Facebook, things of that nature. So we have a core team, and we have a team that's been sticking together for weeks and months now. And I think that's also encouraging, because I'm just going to take the assumption that almost everybody in this chat has some business experience. You probably don't get into cryptocurrency unless you have some background in doing something either with finances or business or marketing or whatever, what have you. And we all know from personal experience with working with other individuals that, keeping a core team of solid people motivated and working hard every day, that in and of itself is just a testament to the people that we have on our team, because, people getting along in an office or being able to work simultaneously or be able to constantly, have honest discussion and honest debate and go back and forth on certain things. Sometimes it's almost like I wish I could publish some of the chats that I have with just Danny, Noodles, one-on-one, that he'll throw out an idea and I'll give him pushback, and then he'll give me some pushback. And then it's like, all right, so what can we grow from this, and where can we go from here? And it's like, oh wait, yeah, that will work. Oh wait, what if we added this? And it's encouraging, because there has to be that healthy debate, but there also has to be that healthy work ethic that everybody wants to be on the same page. And we truly have it. It's a special thing, and it's only going to get better and better as the weeks, months go on. So, well, gone about 50 minutes now. So if there's any other questions, we can certainly take them. This has been recorded, so we will reshare this in the chat. Make sure we post it out. And Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. I will leave it with this. Obviously, massive thanks to our team. But once again, uh, incredibly blessed to have Don Bailey and his team what they did just for our project yesterday, just to get that volume over 250,000 to be able to buy 41 trillion tokens and then airdrop them and then increase our holders a day after buying that many tokens. It's pretty special. We're very fortunate and blessed to be able to say they're they're our friends and that we're going to be working with them as much as we possibly can in the future, and hopefully that'll help increase our our market cap and our liquidity pool and our holders. And yeah, really excited. But this has been recorded. We'll definitely repost it. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time. I know that it was a little bit improv today, a little bit earlier than what was expected due to some scheduling conflicts, but I appreciate you guys all. Hope you have a very fun, happy, blessed weekend with friends and family. And thank you for being a part of ours. That's all I can say. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much and have a great day.